this week's Albert Square After Dark, your weekly EastEnders podcast, where this week we'll be discussing the episodes that aired between the 27th to the 30th of April 2026. How are you all? Hope you're good. It's been an emotional week this week if you've been watching EastEnders. How are you, Rob? Did you find it quite emotional?
I did. Are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Is
Are
everybody
you
okay?
okay?
In the
Are we
words of
all
Holly
okay?
Willoughby, are you okay? Oh,
We know
yeah.
it wasn't a shock, but you know, it
No.
still it shouldn't it?
I mean, it was a good week, wasn't it? It was
It
a
was a good
good old, it was a
week.
good
Yeah.
old week. I mean, yeah, we have much to discuss in the way of all the emotions and everything that happened this week with Nigel. Can't believe he's gone. That's the
I
end of
know,
Nigel.
actually, when you just said it, it's like, oh, we're never going to
Nigel's
discuss him
gone.
again,
That's
really.
it.
Well,
A year and a half, and we got all the predictions
yeah.
wrong about when it was going to happen.
Oh, yeah, literally.
We
Yeah,
were like
literally.
Christmas, New Year's. I was definitely going to
Yeah,
happen New Year. Well, do you know
yeah.
what? February, adamant. It's going to be February, and no, it was the end of April. So
I
there we
guess
go.
you could argue they've not sensationalised his death by
No,
doing
because
it.
it can happen at any. It can happen at any
Yeah,
time, can't
exactly.
it? So
So,
I would say that this storyline has been an absolute triumph from start to finish. But we will talk about
yes.
everything related to Nigel a little bit later on. First off, it's May, white rabbits,
It's
and all that kind of
May.
thing. White
Rabbits.
rabbits,
White
white
rabbits.
rabbits. Who comes up with this stuff? White
I
rabbits.
don't know.
Why? What does
Who
that
does
mean?
everybody
Doesn't mean
know that?
anything.
That on the
Is that
first of
just
the
a
month, as soon as you wake up, you're supposed to say white rabbits and then you have
why?
good luck for the rest of the month.
Bollocks is what I
Oh,
might as
white
well say
rabbits
to
look
that.
like symbol of good luck. I don't understand why.
Well,
Do they symbolise
a rabbit's
spring?
foot is good. Yeah, but I thought you're supposed to say it to every start of every
Yeah, I
month, aren't
thought
you?
it started every month.
So
Yeah,
what's that got to
yeah,
do with February? You know what I mean? Like
yeah. True.
it's
Or
rubbish.
like September.
If anybody
Anyway,
knows about all that sort of thing, do let us know
white
in the comment
rabbits.
section, and I will read it with fascination. Right, okay, so end of April. Goodbye to Janine and Laura. This is the Janine calendar that our
hmm
lovely Ree designed for us at the start of the year. So, any idea what May's going to be, Ree? No, no
Not a
memories
clue.
whatsoever. I've never known anybody that creates something of such beauty and has no memory of it
I
whatsoever.
deliberately try not to remember too much so that I'm
So it's a
like
nice
a bit
surprise
surprised
for
as
you.
well. Yes,
Well,
yeah.
be prepared to be surprised for Janine in May. Oh, now Janine and
Oh,
Ryan. I mean,
yeah.
bearing in mind what we've been doing this week, that's quite an appropriate photo, really, isn't it? So this is Janine and Ryan. This is after, I
So,
think this is when she's trying to poison him after she's found out that
yes,
he is
yeah.
the father of Lily.
Father of, yeah,
She
Stacey,
wasn't thrilled
yeah.
about that, was she?
No, she wasn't. Oh, come
No,
on, though. He were never that bothered about you, Janine. Come on, let's be
no.
real.
This is
Sorry, sorry. I know it's a bit
this is the
harsh.
girl
But
that's
also,
just
actually, it's
desperate for
not.
love.
You're there poisoning him, so.
My main memory of her finding out about Lily was that massive row that she had with Stacey and Jean in the marketplace, and Jean is standing outside the store with a pram. Fortunately, Stacey has taken Lily into the cafe with her because Janine storms straight up to the pram and kicks it over. She's a nutter, an absolute nutter.
Wow.
Yeah,
Come on, that's next level even for you, Janine. Come on.
exactly.
Wow.
So yes, we are in May, and yeah, what a week we have had to start off the month. Yes, so obviously we've got everything to discuss with Nigel in a bit, but then there's all sorts of other little things as well. Max and Mindy, seem to be official.
I'm not here for it. Not here for
Oh,
him being official.
oh,
We'll
we
get to
will
it. We'll
we will
get
get
to
to
it.
that. Don't you
We'll
worry,
get to
because
it.
we have a
Yeah,
long
yeah.
way to go until New Year's Day, and if you think that Cindy is getting married to Max on New Year's Day, I beg to differ, my
Oh,
dear.
okay. Let's get to that
Oh,
then.
no way. So let's crack on with it. In.
This week's Albert Square After Dark.
Right, let's kick off this week. We're talking about Ravi and Priya. Obviously, this is all the fallout from last week with the big old
Mm,
explosive car crash. It's been a mad couple of weeks, really, in retrospect, hasn't it? It really
yeah.
has.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Not much
has.
damage from rest room though. Like they're all walking around fine, aren't they?
Basically, everybody's fine. Everybody, but
Yeah.
then people in car crashes in Walford very rarely actually die in car crashes in Walford. If you think
That's
about
very
it,
true.
it's
No,
normally just a
but
big old impressive stunt that everybody sort of like walks around a little
yeah.
bit bruised and battered. Most of the time, they're like Teflon. It's all good.
But that car took quite a battering, all those flips. You'd have thought at least one person might still be in hospital this
Well, do you know
week,
what it is?
but
You know how chefs sort of like can hold really hot pans and plates because they've got like
yes.
asbestos fingers. I
Yep,
think
my other
that's sort
half,
of
yeah.
how, yeah, I think that's sort of how it works with the people in Walford. They've been in that many car crashes and stuff that they sort of become immune to it.
Yeah, fair, yeah. Like,
Mm,
say it as bad as, September 96. Come on. That
exactly.
were nothing.
That were nothing. Right, so Ravi has been diagnosed officially with complex post-traumatic stress
Yes.
disorder. And we know that because the first shot we see of him of the week is he's delicately balancing cereal boxes into a very nice
Mm,
tower. I thought that looked
yes.
quite
And then
artistic.
and then we shot to a scene of them all at his flat eating from those cereal boxes as well. Did you notice that they were all on the table as well?
No, I didn't notice that. No.
Yeah, yeah, they had the same cereal boxes on the table back at his apartment. So I don't know what they were
Uh,
trying to symbolise there. Maybe it
uh,
reminded him of home.
well, if they were trying to symbolise anything, clearly wasted on me. Went right over my head
Over your
completely.
head.
Over my head. So Priya is trying to keep everything together, and it's not going well.
No.
Later on in the week, she has a big old go at a time wasting customer, which, I mean, deep down, when you work in that sort of environment, I think anybody needs any excuse just to turn around to a customer like that
Yeah.
and say, can you stop wasting my time or go away?
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard, is it?
It's yeah, yeah, that's the difference though, isn't it? Everyone you all want to do it, but you don't. You remain professional, don't you, when you're at work and all
Grief
that.
gives you an
So
excuse to do all sorts of things, though, doesn't it? It
true.
really does.
Yeah.
But she goes to see Ravi, and he is now in a stage where he's telling her that we're over. I'm not in love with you anymore. Now, is this self-preservation on Ravi, or does he genuinely believe it? What do you think is he's trying to protect her? What do you think's going on?
I think it's a bit of all of it. I do wonder if he feels a bit betrayed by Priya because he knows obviously he saw it that she'd like called for him to be sectioned, I think, even though
Yeah,
he
yeah,
didn't see her make the call, but she did say like you needed help. So it was
mm,
implied that it was her.
yeah,
So maybe it's a bit of that and him feeling betrayed, like that the person he trusted to put him there. Because
hmm,
it feels like he's still in that place of he's not quite come to terms with the fact of how like mentally ill he's been
yeah, yeah.
at the moment. And then also just a case of pushing her away, I think, to be
Mm.
honest. I don't think he really means it deep down.
No, I mean
But in the
he
moment, he means it, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
I mean he has been saying things to Priya like I don't want to be like this anymore.
Mm,
I feel like I need help, but at the same time, it's sort of it's the stigma attached to it. I think, isn't
yeah.
it? Like you're
Yeah.
in a place like that, and you feel like you've just completely hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
So he tells Priya that he doesn't want to be with her anymore, and she kind of confides this in Suki and tells Suki to go and see him. Hopefully that'll happen next week. So I'd quite like to see that conversation between Ravi
Yeah.
and Suki because there's a nice textured little history between Ravi and Suki. So I'd like
Yeah,
to see that kind
definitely.
of that conversation play out.
Do you know what I've just considered? What actually happened to Ravi's mum? I can't even remember.
Oh, God knows. No, I can't
She
remember. I don't.
is
Was
she
she?
still alive?
I don't think so.
No.
I
We'll check that. I
We'll
can't
check
remember
that. I
either.
can't. I
Yeah,
can't
well
remember.
we should know this, but
You
we'll
throw
check
these
it,
things. You
yeah.
throw these pop quiz questions at me, Rihanna. You could give me some
Go on,
preparation, for
Rob, go
goodness
on.
sake. Go on, get the answer. Yes. So that's all kind of not going well.
Mm,
The only other thing really with this, because obviously that was at the start of the week, and then we were focused on Nigel for the rest of the week, really. But the only thing was a conversation between Max and Priya.
mm-hmm.
Are
Where
we keep?
like, how look is Ravi? Don't know where he's got in front of him with. Looks like
He
that and
just
a
can't
touch
help
like
it.
that.
Silver
Yeah.
tongued, isn't he? Ginger tongues,
Mm-hmm.
anyway. And so, I mean, are we keeping an eye on Ravi and on Max and Priya? What do you reckon?
Yeah, yeah, because if she'd not got sacked after last week, I know that there were like exceptional circumstances in why she nicked the car and called in sick, but they've been
Mm.
quite understanding as employers. So the fact that she's still oh, and then she's just had to go at that customer,
Yeah, in
it's
front
got to
of
be
Max.
leading to an affair. Because otherwise, you could easily just write Priya out of the car lot now.
Yeah,
Like you could say she's done. She got a car from there. That's it.
she is in there for a reason, isn't she?
Yeah,
She's in
yeah,
there for a story
100%.
reason. Because
Yeah.
let's be real, I don't think Max wouldn't have tolerated any of this other bloke, would he?
No. Or someone he didn't deem attractive in some way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you kind of got to bear in mind, obviously, we know, so whoever is in the brides list is not the one that's
Mhm.
pregnant in the bed.
Yes.
So,
We messed up with that last week. So I think I said it's
yes, you
Linda
did. Yes,
and
you
then
did.
realised, so
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, you were quite right. People pointed it out. Very right. Very right.
The viewers are always right, Ree. That's the
That's
lesson.
true.
That's the
Yeah,
lesson we've learned from
that's the
this.
one.
That's the
There we go.
lesson. Hashtag viewers are always right. Um, so yeah, it's Priya is a potential for that bit. I don't think that we've
Yes.
got her in mind for a bride or anything like that. That's not going to
No.
happen.
No.
But maybe the
Uh,
pregnancy in the bed. But then even the pregnancy in the bed, I'm still not 100% convinced it's going to be as cut and dry as that is Max's baby. There's got to be other things going on. Is my
Well,
thinking
I
at the
was just
minute.
thinking that as you were saying it, but then I can't remember if she said it too recently that her and Ravi had not been sleeping together. So if she is pregnant, that would, and her and Max have an affair,
Mm,
then it would imply that it is Max's and not Ravi's because she said it recently to somebody that they've just basically not, her and Ravi have not been physical or something
yeah,
she
yeah, yeah.
said. So if it is Priya, it is likely to be Max's. Yeah.
Indeed. Also, something that we forgot to mention last week is the fact
Mm.
that Max saved Jimmy's life last week, and that was
Yes.
mentioned New Year's Day.
Hmm.
So,
Or is there another incident where he
or is there
saves
another
his
incident?
and Ethan's life together?
Exactly.
Hmm.
Jimmy and his poor Jimmy. It's like
Yeah,
this.
right. If that is
Welcome
the
to
case,
Walford.
yeah, yeah.
Welcome to
Bloody
life,
heck.
kid, in Walford. So yeah, there's bits and pieces sort of being drip fed to us at the moment. We've
Mm.
obviously still got a long way to go until we get there, but I feel like we're slowly sort of maybe putting a couple of puzzle pieces together of how
Yeah.
it's all going to play out.
I
But
mean, either that or this whole Priya thing's an absolute red herring, by the way, and it's just someone for us to speculate that he's having an affair with.
I mean, this is the thing. The pregnancy thing. If it is Max's, which
Yeah.
again, like I say, I'm not convinced it is yet.
Hmm.
But if it is, I mean, that could just be the result of a one night stand with somebody. I mean, somebody even in the Facebook group even pointed out we might not even have met this woman yet, which is perfectly
Yeah,
possible.
true. Yeah, very
So
true. Yeah, interesting.
it's all up in the air, my dear.
Hmm.
So I guess we'll see what happens there. But yeah, hopefully, I think we'll continue with the Ravi stuff next week or maybe the week after. Give it a break. I mean, it depends like how much they're going to focus on Ravi in the hospital and sort of because obviously
Yeah.
they did it with Phil. I don't know how much focus they're going to give to Ravi in the hospital or whether they're going to sort of look more of how because it is also a story for Priya as well, isn't it? How
Yeah,
she's
definitely.
coping
Yeah.
and all that kind of thing. So I wonder if they're going to maybe focus it more on Priya whilst Ravi is in
Mm.
hospital and then sort of see how they coalesce from there.
I'll be honest, I was surprised that we saw Ravi in hospital this week, but I feel like it was fitting that we did. But I wondered if it were just going to be a case of where they talk about him like recovering and
Mm.
they talk about that they've gone to see him rather than us seeing him in there. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they continue that or not.
Yeah.
I
mean,
think they're going to though, right? If
I
they've
think
shown us
so. I mean,
already.
either that or it was Aaron Tiara like had made that made that tower of cereal boxes. It was like, get those cameras on. We're putting this in the episode. It looks
Yeah, come on, I've not done
fantastic.
this for nothing, eh?
Did it on his break and was like, start filming now.
Now,
This
now,
looks
go on.
epic. So yeah, we'll see
Okay.
kind of how it plays
Yeah.
out. But yeah, some good stuff there. Right, let's move on to the next story. Right, on to Max and Cindy, Mindy, if you will. Oh, I'm obsessed with them. I love them. They're brilliant together. It's going to be absolute chaos. All of this sort of snogging in the living room and sort of being all sweet and tender with one another. That ain't going to last, Rihanna. Don't you worry about
Oh,
that.
okay. This is what I was
Oh, as
a
if
bit
that's going
worried
to last.
about. I mean,
Look at the
come
characters
on.
we're dealing with here. This isn't going
Yeah.
to be sort of love's young dream together. At the minute,
No,
they're in the
good.
stage where they're always ripping each other's clothes off, and it's all exciting and lovely. And they're both single, which felt weird coming out of Max's mouth. Both single. It's like he didn't
It's
quite know
not
how
even
to
an
verbalize
affair.
those words. Yeah, it felt weird for him to say it. But give it time. Give it time. Just be patient, Rihanna. We'll get there. We will
But I
get there.
wanted them to be the affairers, not the affairees. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, I
mm,
didn't want them two to be a couple and then have separate affairs. I wanted Max to be in a couple, Cindy to be in a couple, and then them two to have the secret affair.
mm.
But okay, we're here. We're here.
Well, I think my favourite part of this week was when they were snogging in the hallway and Cindy was thrown in a cupboard and
Oh gosh, yeah.
she overheard Lauren calling her a trollop or something. And it will
Yeah.
never not make me laugh whenever Cindy is referred to as something like that and she looks so offended. It makes me laugh
Appalled.
it makes me laugh every single time because the face
And then
expression is
and then
brilliant.
Max called her a little rat, essentially.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
trying to send her a
She was
rat in the
livid
cupboard.
by the time she got out of that cupboard.
By the time she got out as well, because she got bloody
Yeah.
locked in.
She did. But yeah, they're sort of like trying to sort of work that. I think if the thing is, I think it feels strange for both of them because they
Yeah.
know that this relationship shouldn't really be happening.
Mm.
Given the history between not
Their
the history
families.
between them, but given the history between their families and sort of
Yeah.
indirect history between them, both of them are sort of like, this is bizarre, but yet I can't stop ripping your clothes off. So at the minute, they're
Yeah.
trying to sort of do things normally. They've sort of come out, if you will, to Lauren, and
Yeah.
people are sort of aware of their relationship.
Mm.
So at the minute, everything seems to be sort of all fine and dandy and harps and roses, but this is Max and Cindy we're talking about. So
Yeah.
my thinking at the minute is that now Grant is back. Him and Linda are going to start sort of flirting
Yes,
with one
this is what.
another, and Max is going to
Yes.
get angry about that, and then it's all going to start
Ah.
snowballing from there. Is my thinking.
Okay. But I can't see. I know that's kind of how they got together before, but I can't see Linda having an affair behind like Cindy's back. If you know what I mean. I don't
Mm.
think that Linda would do that. So I don't know how. that would potentially happen. Oh, you think
I don't know. I
maybe?
mean, this is the thing. Linda is single, and it's not like she's got any particular sort of affinity to Cindy, really, is it?
Well, no, not at all. If anything, Elaine and Cindy always had beef, didn't they? So,
Exactly. Elena will be encouraging that from the
yeah.
sidelines. Go on, girl.
I don't know. I just feel like in my head, but I could be wrong, and maybe it isn't going to last anyway, and then they will end up being people who have an affair. But
Mm.
in my head, it'd have made more sense if Max was getting with Linda and then had an affair with
With
Cindy behind
Cindy.
Linda's
Yeah,
back,
yeah, yeah,
because Max and Linda seem a bit more, what's the word? Love versus lust,
yeah. Yes.
whereas Max
This
and
is
Cindy are
lust, do
very
you reckon?
lust. Yeah,
I don't know though,
definitely.
because I mean, what did
But
they
then
some
Cindy feels like she's got more feelings than Max potentially at
I
this
think
point.
Cindy is a bit surprised by how she's feeling around Max. I feel like she's sort
Yeah.
of this feels like uncharted territory as far as Cindy is concerned because it isn't an affair. The most exciting part of it was the fact that none of the family knew about it and that it shouldn't
Yeah.
be happening. And yet, now the members of the family know, she's kind of still feeling exactly the same. So I feel like she's sort of blindly sort of
Yeah.
going around this relationship and she's not quite sure how to deal with it.
For now, though, like you said, maybe
Mm.
the novelty will wear off or something. But then I don't know who else
It's like I
Cindy.
said, there's nobody else for Cindy around at the minute, is
No,
there?
this is what I've been trying to figure out. Who could Cindy go for? Like George isn't even an option. He's
No,
like with
I
Nicola
think
now. You can't
I feel
start
like
beef with
The
Nicola.
Cindy and George thing I think is way in the past and done for
Yeah,
now, isn't
same.
it? So
Yeah,
yeah,
and Junior as well. Let's not
yeah,
forget. So I don't think George
exactly.
could ever overlook that one. Max, on the other hand, has got
Mm.
loads of people. So I guess it does kind of make sense that he'd have an affair with somebody.
I think that if I'm going to make a prediction proper, I'm going to
Go on.
say at the minute
Proper. Go
a
on.
proper prediction. I wouldn't say adamant, but a proper prediction. Okay, it's one
Okay, yeah,
down
go
from
on.
adamant. All right, it's not
Yes.
an
All right.
official adamant territory. I'm going to say that I reckon at this point that Cindy is the bride on New Year's Day. However, she has discovered something like an affair or something like that, and she's extracting some
Plotting.
sort of revenge on him.
Yeah, I actually would lean towards that. But then I think about a month ago, I was quite adamant that it was
Mm,
Linda who's the bride.
mm.
But then if it was Linda, why would Cindy have been getting ready? But Cindy looked more like, weren't Cindy staring at a wedding dress as well?
I feel like, yeah, I mean, the vibe we were
Linda was just
getting,
getting ready, weren't she?
yeah, the vibe we were getting. I mean, she could, yeah, who knows at this point, to be
But I
fair.
was just
But
gonna say, if it isn't that he's getting married to Cindy, arguably she's staring at the wedding dress of who is getting married to him, and she's jealous,
well,
and
yeah,
she's
because
plotting
whose
to
room was
ruin the
she in?
dress.
Whose room was she in? She could have been anybody's room, couldn't she?
Whose room would she be in that'd be that close to him and stuff? That she'd be close to enough to be in
Yeah,
the room of
exactly. Yeah,
Linda potentially
Linda
because of the
potentially. Yeah,
because of the B&B. I'm thinking it would be that hard
exactly,
for her to get
because
in.
the whole sort of like the bride and groom can't see each other on the day of the wedding
Yeah.
or whatever. She goes to stay in the B&B for the night, or
Ah, true, true.
or like
Yeah, yeah.
something. I At the minute I've got Cindy sort of eyed for bride, but
Bride.
bride and in inverted commas as
Yeah.
far as she's concerned, I would
Yeah,
say.
that she's doing it because she's found something out and she wants to
Yeah,
rinse him for something.
yeah.
But then who is the person in the bed? I can't figure
I
that
mean,
out.
Priya is the only
Priya at this
person with
stage.
yeah, but that I wouldn't I'm putting Priya in pencil so I can rub her out
Yeah,
later. Do you know what I mean? Because
yeah.
at the minute Priya is still sort of the only person it kind of could be, but like we say, we've got a long way to go yet, so it could be anybody, frankly, at this point. But yeah, interesting.
And Chelsea needs to come into the picture at some point because
Yeah, we
she's
still
on the
got.
list.
Yeah, we
So
there's stuff clearly going to be going on with Denise at some point as
yeah.
well, because
Yes.
Denise stuff is sort of up in the air at the moment. We've sort of
Yeah.
got some drips fed to us over the past couple of weeks. So something mad's going to be happening with Denise. Chelsea's story needs to begin. It would
Yes,
seem
exactly. We
because
so we don't barely see Chelsea at all. I
we
thought we would have
don't,
seen
but
more of her by now.
yeah, but it's only May, isn't it? So
Time.
many
Yeah.
months to go. And it's been said that everybody that sort of was in that flash forward has got a big year. So maybe Chelsea's story just hasn't started yet, and
Yeah.
it's at some point her and Max perhaps need to start orbiting around one another because they have framed Chelsea for being one of the potential brides, haven't they? And
Yeah.
they haven't, as far as I'm aware, had that many scenes together yet. So that needs
Do you
to
know
begin.
the only other person I think could potentially get involved in all this, and I don't know why, but is B. Because remember she
Yeah,
had that interest in Max at the
yeah, yeah.
beginning. And I have been wondering, is she somehow still going to be involved in everything? Is she going to be one of the people?
Mm.
I mean, have they officially said that the four brides we saw, brides in inverted
Yeah.
commas, one of them is actually the bride? Do we actually know that?
I don't know. Well,
So it was
no.
Chelsea, Denise,
Chelsea. Well,
Linda, and Cindy.
it wasn't even really Denise, was it? Because Denise wasn't in the
No,
episode at
it
all.
was
But she was
implied
sort of.
though.
It was implied that she was sort of around, but in a
Mm,
sort of questionable capacity. So maybe really we should sort of be looking at what exactly Denise is doing, because at least we've got we know that the other women are sort of there, but we don't know
yeah,
where Denise is.
yeah,
So.
true.
And is that
And she
somehow
left her phone,
related to
didn't
whatever's
she?
going on with her? Yeah. But then why is Libby back?
Because I think Denise is going to have some health storyline.
Yeah.
Given that conversation she had with Sam the other week as well.
Yeah,
Is that what
exactly.
it is with Denise?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then she must have some involvement with Max for it to be
yeah.
like implied to potentially
And the
be.
implication was that Jack and Denise have broken up as well.
Yeah,
So,
or had a very, very big argument at the
yeah.
very least.
So,
Still, we
many
still don't know
questions.
anything, do we?
Not really.
It's
We
like
just
the
sort of
six all over again.
all over again. Theories, theories, theories.
Yeah.
Right, before we get on to the big old Nigel stuff, let's have a brief little discussion about Mo, who is officially now 90. Happy birthday, Maureen. It's a bit late, but she's
Happy
officially
belated.
happy belated, which is a risk when you get to that age. Let's be real. Let's
Yeah,
not be doing late birthdays, bless her. But she's 90. Hooray, hurrah, hurroo. And she looks
officially.
fabulous on it, doesn't she? Bless
Doesn't
her.
she
And
just?
she
You'd have never
just
thought 90.
no. I mean, she's still getting pissed with the best of them. I hope I'm still doing
Isn't
that at
she?
90.
Yeah, how? Yeah.
Getting hammered, doing
No wonder she
shots.
couldn't
Quite
wake
right.
up
She's Slater, isn't she? You could do that all. You could do that till the day you die if you're a Slater.
in the bones.
The
Isn't
bones.
it?
Um, so yeah, I mean, this was sort of like a sort of little backstory throughout the week of just Mo's birthday party, and Jasmine is the one that decides to sort of organise it, and it's all
Yeah,
lovely, and Mo has a great birthday. I
yeah.
feel like the thing that I'm really supposed to kind of drag out of this is that I am enjoying this little dynamic that's now going on with the Slaters. I mean, I know it's all going to go tits up. Of
Hmm.
course it is. You know,
Yeah,
I'm assuming once Oscar and Josh get started again, then it's all going to go horribly wrong. But at the
yeah.
minute, I am enjoying sort of Jasmine sort of being with her new family and sort of
Yeah,
enjoying being
fitting
in the
in.
family. The
Yeah,
relationship that's starting up between Mo and Jasmine, I think that's quite sweet.
yes, yeah.
I
It does
just,
feel like we're seeing a lot more of Kat and Jasmine bonding there than
yeah,
Zoe and Jasmine. I still feel like she's not quite there with Zoe,
it feels like
but
Zoe's
they,
sort of like in the background, sort of kind of
yeah,
tentatively watching it, doesn't it? Yeah,
which kind of also makes sense because it takes the pressure away, but she's still getting to know other
yeah,
members of the family and feeling like she kind of belongs, which I think she's never felt in her entire life, as we
exactly, yeah.
already know.
And that's what I'm kind of enjoying about it at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I am fully waiting for something bad to
Mm,
happen and for her to sort of go back to being Dark Jasmine again. But
mm,
on the whole, I actually am really liking the dynamic between them and how it's quite sweet to sort of watch her enjoying being part of this mad little family
yeah.
and sort of
I know
wanting
what
to
you
do
mean,
things
yeah.
for them and being appreciated and being liked and
Yeah.
being loved and hugging Mo and calling her grandma and all. And you
So
know, Mo, Mo.
you're describing it's all about to go
Of
from
course it
what you're
is. It's
saying, really.
It's EastEnders, isn't it? Of course it's
Yeah,
all about
yeah.
to go. But I am quite liking the dynamic, I have to say. I
Yeah.
know this whole storyline has kind of been tricky at times, but I think now we're here, it's kind of quite sweet to watch it.
Yeah, I don't hate it either, but yeah, now you're saying, oh, it's all going so nice and
So
it's going
nice, isn't
so
it?
well.
So
I love it. It's
sweet.
like, yeah, it's not gonna last, is it?
No, of
I
course it's
feel
not.
like the Mer's 90th party was kind of
The best it's
supposed to
ever
like
gonna be.
well, and that.
Yeah.
I feel like it were there to like juxtapose. What's the word?
Juxtapose. Juxtapose.
Or for
Juxtapose.
the
Yeah.
juxtaposition
Yeah.
of the Nigel
Yes.
storyline, so that we had a bit of
Well,
lightheartedness as well in the week, but
yes.
also a time for like we saw a lot of Mer reflecting about life at the
I loved
same
that.
time.
That was some of
Yeah,
Mo's best material that she's had in years, I thought. I
yeah,
thought that was a really
she's
nice
been great
moment.
this week
Yeah,
actually,
yeah,
Mer.
it was a good
Yeah,
week for Mo, and sort of like, yeah, I can imagine like if you're hitting 90, you can sort of maybe become a little bit reflective. I think that's allowed, and
surprised not been
especially when,
sooner to be
well,
honest.
exactly. I mean, Mo's never
Yeah,
been the reflective type, really, has she? But I
yeah,
think
that's true.
when you get to that stage, and actually, what you're looking at the rest of the square, sort of dealing with
Mm,
this kind of really sad death of a younger man than you
yeah.
sort of, I think you will have moments like that. And I thought that was
Mm,
really nicely pitched, that moment with Mo.
yeah.
It worked really nicely.
And her sitting there and having the realization, like she sat with her great great granddaughter, and
Mm,
Jasmine saying, "Oh, I had a great great granddad Jimmy." You never know the
yeah,
names of like your great great relatives.
that was
I
true.
wonder
Do
if
you
there's
know the name
gonna
of yours?
no. I
No, me
wonder
neither.
if there's gonna be anything else come from all of that and like going into some Slater family history and going down some family tree route, or if it was literally just for this week so that they could say,
Yeah, I didn't.
appreciate everything in life kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I have been wrong before occasionally, but I didn't get the sense this week that that was the start of us
Yes.
being drip fed anything. I think it was just
Yeah.
supposed to be this sort of reflective moment from Mo, and sort of and sort of giving Jasmine a feeling of, yeah, I'm in a family and it's got its history and I'm part of that history, and her sort of
Yes. Yeah.
feeling, her feeling like she's in the place that
A
she
Slater.
belongs. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does also kind of, we've said about, sort of the Slaters and Trumans, and Josh is more of a Truman now than he is a
Yeah.
Slater, because he wasn't involved
Yeah.
in anything this week. He wasn't involved in any of the
We didn't
party or
see
anything
him,
like
did
that.
we?
No, exactly. So
Yeah, that's interesting. Did he get invited to the party? Was it even
I don't
mentioned
know.
whether he got an invite? Because that's like as much his family as Jasmine's, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So
Mm.
I wonder, yeah, obviously, actors have weeks off now. Now and again, it
Yeah,
happens where an actor has a week off and it's sort of like, well, where are they? They should be here in
yeah,
this scene. And that's just scheduling problems. But also, it does also make you wonder whether there was a sense of deliberate sort of exclusion
yeah.
from Jasmine at that point, because is she kind of quite enjoying having this family to herself,
Mm.
because Josh had all the loving family, she's never had that. So I wonder if she's gonna start trying to separate them a little bit. You can go with the
Possibly.
Trumans and I'll have my Slaters, thank you very much. That sort of dynamic.
Or the other way around, I would say that maybe Josh won't want to have as much like involvement with the Slaters, and maybe he still feels that it's a bit too much for him to like get involved with Zoe at this point,
Yeah.
and maybe he feels more comfortable getting to know the Truman side,
Mm,
and maybe Jasmine will say, "Oh, come on, like." Come
mm,
join us, the Slaters, and he's gonna be like, "Do you know what? I'm all right here with the Trumans for a bit.
yeah.
Actually, it could go that way as well,
Which
and
is
you
mad,
could
really,
say,
because the amount that Josh goes out and gets pissed, you'd think he'd love the Slaters.
well, yeah, well,
He
drinks
doesn't like
like a
rum.
drink.
He doesn't like
Patrick,
rum,
like,
though,
yeah,
does
but
he?
it's still a drink, isn't it? Patrick likes a drink.
I wonder if there is a rum for everybody, because I'm not a huge fan of rum. But if
You
is
said
there is
this.
there a rum for everybody? Because I'd quite like to watch Josh and
Yeah,
some.
you'd prefer white rum, to be fair, Rob.
Do you reckon? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
because you're a vodka
I'm a
guy.
racist.
White rum. Only white
Only white
drinks,
rum for me, thank
please.
you very much.
No, I think you would like white, so like Bacardi or something. Do you
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Do you
Oh, I
like a
don't mind a Bacardi.
mojito?
I don't like a I
Mojito.
don't mind a
Yeah, well,
Bacardi.
Bacardi's a
Yeah, that's
white
right.
rum.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
that's
So
true.
there is
Yeah,
a rum for everyone.
yeah.
I'm a
There you go.
spiced rum kind of gal.
I
I
don't like
love a
spiced rum,
spiced
you
rum.
see. I
I
don't like
love
spiced
spiced
rum.
rum.
I
It's
had a bad
sweet.
night on spiced rum, and it's one of those nights where I don't want to do that again. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, fair enough. It can put you. I'm like that with vodka, so there you go.
There you go.
Eh?
There you go. Yeah, you had a bad night on vodka the night we went out in Sheffield the other week, didn't you?
Why? Why? Oh,
Why?
that's why we went the
Uh,
next day.
that I'm not
Anyway,
worried.
we digress.
Yes.
Don't worry.
So there we go then. So I'm intrigued to sort of see the dynamics of this play out a little bit more. I'd like some more scenes between Josh and Jasmine as well.
Yes, definitely,
To
and
explore that
Oscar.
dynamic a bit, and Oscar.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, the Oscar stuff is going to come into it.
Yeah,
But I am intrigued to sort of, I mean, how do you think it's going to work? Obviously, the affair reveal when it starts is going to be as big and cataclysmic as it possibly can be. But are
hmm,
we going to have Oscar and Josh and Jasmine sort of becoming closer, and then that will happen? Which,
becoming a
if
trio and then him
yeah,
getting too close to Josh.
or is she always going to keep him at hand at sort of arm's length?
I could also see that potentially maybe it'll be like a bit of a we were on a break situation with Oscar and Jasmine, and then he'll
Yeah.
end up like getting drunk, and Josh will be getting drunk, or Jasmine does something, which means Oscar and Josh both end up
Yeah.
at the Albert getting drunk, and then one thing leads to another, and that's where it starts potentially. But what
Mm,
is you're right, something's going to go on with Jasmine and the Slaters because
yeah.
it's all too happy at the minute.
Far too happy at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't own that
Mm.
pub and your life go perfectly. It's not
Oh
allowed,
no,
I'm afraid.
come on, it's
Come
Albert
on.
Square.
Exactly. So let's see what happens there. Right, folks, let's move on to the biggest storyline of the week. Rest in peace to Nigel. They are calling it some of the best EastEnders episodes in months and months and months, and I feel it's a fair description of them, really, don't you?
Yeah, it's been a good one this week. They've done it real justice because we were worried, and we've always mentioned this that when we thought there might be a crossover of producers, that will the Nigel storyline still go as well?
Yeah,
It's been so well done.
it's been so
And
well
to
done.
handle that crossover so smoothly as well.
Yeah, this is a thing
Yeah.
I think. I think credit where credit is due. It is
Hmm.
very easy to take over, sort of inherit a strong storyline and then
Yeah.
absolutely wreck it. We've seen it done
Yes.
before, okay?
Hmm.
But actually, the crossover period with the Nigel storyline has been perfect,
Yeah.
which means that we have been left with is a story that hasn't put a toe wrong from start to finish, and that's
Agreed.
actually a really rare
Yeah.
thing, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
the elements that I think this era has brought into the Nigel storyline have been absolutely gorgeous. I've loved every
Yeah.
second of this story, and this week was phenomenal in just the scripts, in the
Yeah.
acting, in
Hmm.
direction. It was just beautifully handled. There's no other
Yes,
way to describe
definitely.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. It has been
Beautiful. It was
beautiful.
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 Um, let's not forget the fact, however, we have the return of Grant this week. I mean, obviously he arrives and
Yes.
then he runs over Mac straight away because that's the start of something, isn't it?
Foreshadowing.
That's the
Foreshadowing.
foreshadowing.
Yes.
Those two
I
are going to
agree.
be at
Yeah.
loggerheads.
At
Um,
Linda, I think you're right. Yeah. Linda.
yes,
Hmm.
Linda. And Grant's kind of returns thanks to Mark, and it's interesting the Mark and Grant's relationship. It's sort of, are they going to be able to sort of build things, like make things work? I feel like Grant is going to get involved in this madness that's been going on with Mark and the 100K.
Yeah. Surely, if he's going to be here for a while, which Grant's in for a
This is a
short stint,
lengthy
but
stint,
long.
I think.
Yeah,
He's
a
only
lengthy stint.
a
Yeah.
lengthy stint. He's not long finished filming, so I think we've got a good few months of Grant now, which is
Yeah.
exciting.
We
So
need to see
yeah.
them bond over something. It makes
Mm.
perfect sense to bond over that, doesn't it,
Now,
for him?
what else
It's
are you going to
like,
bond over other than gangland crime? You know, it's
exactly. And
perfect father-son activities.
I don't feel like Grant's quite hung up his leather jacket on all the gangland crime like
Not
Phil
like
has.
Phil has. No,
No.
exactly.
So I feel like he'd still get his hands a bit dirty, especially
Yeah.
to help Mark.
Talking to Phil, obviously Phil really, really struggles this week. Because
Yeah.
he can sort of sense the end is near, and
Mm.
Nigel has sort of been the one thing that sort of kept his brain focused since his
Yeah.
breakdown. And there was some really good scenes between him and Grant at the start of the week where
Yeah.
they. I mean, the thing is with Phil and Grant, they cannot be together in the same room whenever Grant first returns without having a blazing row at some
Oh,
point.
yeah, of course.
And this week was no different because they start sort of
Yeah.
throwing accusations at one another.
Yeah.
I do think Grant was acting a little bit rich in terms of
Oh
like,
my
where
God.
have you been?
There's nothing worse than that. I'm sorry. Where like Grant coming in and saying, Phil, you need to
What have
do
you
this, that,
done?
and other. It's like, where have
Yeah,
you been? You can't
yeah.
just come in and start saying all of that. You haven't
You
even
weren't
been
even going to come
here.
back. You weren't even going to
Yeah.
come back. You know what I mean? Like, you have
Yeah.
to be called to come back
Yeah.
and see your mate who's
And
dying. You're the one claiming he's your best mate.
your sister who's had cancer's been trying to
Yeah.
call you, and now you're acting like, why didn't you tell me? Well, she tried calling you, Grant, so don't come in it. See, I want to argue with him, so no
Yeah.
living wonder, is it?
He is useless.
And I think that is also why they probably, when they do reunite, have an argument because he's
Mm.
usually coming back for a reason, then tries to stick his oar in.
There
And
you
you
go.
just be like, you're not even been here, mate. So what are you
And then
doing?
what he'll always do is say, well, why didn't you call me?
And they're like, we did. Why didn't you
Did.
answer? Why didn't you
Yeah.
pick up?
Why didn't you
Yeah.
pick up your phone? You
Mm,
know. So yeah, the usual sort of dynamic between Phil and
yeah.
Grant, which I always like watching because it just sort of
Yeah,
feels like a
same.
little toe. It always feels a bit special when Grant's back, doesn't it? Because
Yes.
you know he's not going to ever come back full time, and he's a character from the echelons of EastEnders history. So
Yes.
it's nice when he sort of comes back for a stint and he's interacting with sort of
But
old characters.
it also feels like he never left. Like he always comes back as the same Grant as well.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh yeah, I know exactly how you're
Yeah, I
going to
mean, the
react and
difference
how you're
between
going to
him and
be.
Phil is that Phil clearly has been on a journey, whereas you kind of
Yeah.
feel that Grant is going to be sort of the same Grant, maybe a little bit older and wiser, but at the same time, sort of still
Yeah, still up
Grant,
to
effectively. Yeah.
shenanigans. Yeah,
Mm.
definitely.
Brief little scene between him and Vicky.
Oh yeah, that was good. I liked that. Vicky being like,
Thanks for ruining my
saucer over
life.
there, thanks for ruining my life.
I
Yeah.
mean, as if Vicky needs an excuse, mind, but
Yeah.
can you see why Vicky's so angry? I saw a
Yes.
few people online going, "What's Vicky kicking off about? Like, why was he ruined her life?" And it's sort of like, yes, there is a little bit of Vicky melodrama going on there,
Yeah,
but at the same
fine.
time, you can also see where she's coming from because it's not like Grant ever made Michelle's life easy, was it?
No, it
to say
definitely
the least.
wasn't.
To say the
Yes.
least. So Nigel is in his final days,
Hmm.
and Julie is at the care home, and she's sort of knackered because she's there all the time. She's mentally
Hmm.
exhausted. Phil is sort of staying away, trying to block it all out. He's got everybody around him saying, "You need to go to the care home. This is now. Now you need to go to the care home, please."
Hmm.
And eventually, the moment kind of comes where Karen has the conversation. It's time.
Julie.
It's Karen. Yeah, that's because Karen was
Real
amazing
name.
this week. That's
Yeah,
because
I know
Karen
she
was amazing
was.
this week, and I
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
think of her. But yeah, Julie has the conversation with the nurse. It's time.
Hmm.
And so it finally is time for Phil to kind of confront his fears, basically, at this point,
Yeah.
because I think Phil thinks that if once Nigel's gone, there's nothing stopping him from falling again, is there?
Yeah. And also, whilst he's there at the care home, he's still here, if
Mm,
that makes sense. But
yeah.
now it's like, no, everything's final now.
Yeah, he can kind of pretend that everything's kind of going along as normal if he's not seeing his
Yeah.
friend sort of passing
Yeah.
away or fading away in front of him,
Yeah.
isn't it?
A bit of
Yeah.
denial and a bit like what Julie said to him already kind of grieving, I think. I think that was
Mm.
quite a right thing that she said, which was nice as well when he did get there and she said, like, she acknowledged it and they could put everything to the side. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that. So it
Yeah.
kind of makes sense why we've not seen much of Phil and Julie interacting for the past few weeks,
Mm.
actually. Because they didn't need to be resenting each other. They were just handling the situation in different ways.
Mm.
And I also think you could argue when Phil said a couple of times this week, like, oh, it's Julie who's lost him. It's Julie. Maybe he's trying to tell himself that he wasn't allowed to feel like that about everything.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't allowed to feel show upset and make it about himself,
Yeah.
so to speak. So
Yeah.
there could be an element of that why he's not been going. Although I think a lot of it is just that he just didn't want to go to the care home and see
Yeah,
anyone.
it's facing it because this is the thing. Phil and emotions are not best friends. Like, despite
Yeah.
everything that's happened, Phil is never going to be the sort of person who's going to talk about his emotions, who is going to allow anybody to sort of see him
Hmm.
sad or crying or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just not the Phil way of doing things.
No.
So when the moment finally does come,
Yeah.
he realizes he does need to sort of do something. So he goes to the beach because we've had this whole thing with the stone
Yes.
and he's trying to find the perfect stone for Nigel.
Yeah.
And Grant follows him to the beach, and the pair of
Finds him,
them
doesn't he? Yeah.
finds him, and they sort of have this final conversation where Grant sort of manages to talk some sense into him. Some really nice stuff there.
Yeah.
The scripts this week were phenomenal.
Yeah. I actually loved that between Phil and Grant on the
Yeah,
bench.
yeah,
They're
so did I.
they're so like they are brothers, aren't
Mm,
they? You see them
yeah,
together and you just know that they're brothers.
yeah,
And even like it actually felt quite surreal seeing Grant because in my head, Grant's like in his 20s from the 90s, right?
yeah,
Obviously it's now 2026. To seeing Grant having these conversations with Phil, thinking about when he's going to pass, because obviously it makes you reflect on yourself when you've got a friend who's the
mm,
same age as you passing
yeah,
away. And seeing him talking to Phil like that was just, like I said, quite surreal because it's like, God, as if you're getting to that age where you need to consider what your options might be and who's going to be there for you.
yeah.
So I quite liked that. Again, we think Grant's not quite softened, but we're seeing him starting to soften as people do in their age. Maybe this could be the
I
start of Grant softening a bit, a
I
little.
would. Do you know what I would say to that? I would
Hmm.
say that I think Grant has matured but hasn't softened.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I think that's a very fair way of putting it. Yes.
Because Grant is somebody who I think is still quite impulsive.
Yes.
He is a bit more emphatic than he used to be, but I
Yes.
feel like he hasn't quite reached the stage where I think in many ways he is a little bit more he's a little bit more brains than brawn than Phil is. I feel like he can deal with that sort of thing a little bit better,
What,
but he's
Grant?
yeah, I think
Oh,
so, yeah.
interesting. I would have
I
thought the
think
other way around.
I feel like when it comes to stuff like that, I think Grant is more capable of having a conversation than Phil is, I would say.
But is that just because he's not been here as much, though? Do you know what I mean? He's not been through the journey of it all. It's a lot
Mm.
easier to have been in Portugal than come in and see the aftermath when you've not actually gone through it
Yeah, I
all.
mean, yes, to be fair, it's not like Grant doesn't kind of run back to Portugal at the drop of a hat, is
Yeah,
it? So,
yeah.
yeah, in many ways,
Whereas
there
if it
may
was the
be.
other way around and Grant had been doing this with Nigel in Portugal, and then Phil came to see Grant in the
Yeah,
same position, you could
yeah,
argue that he'd be able to handle it better, and it's because he's not been in it, if you know what I'm
yeah.
saying. It's like an outside eye, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw a few kind of people saying, oh, "Are we here?" You know, it feels like maybe there's a bit of sort of repetition with the Phil and Grant dynamic. That every time Grant comes back, we sort of have these sorts of scenes with Phil, and actually, that's a sibling thing, isn't it? Like
Yeah, I agree.
there is
Yeah,
nobody on God's green earth who is more likely to keep the same argument going than siblings, especially
100%.
once they reach a certain age. Actually,
Yeah,
you're less capable, I think, of fixing things like that with siblings than you are friends or anything like
yeah,
that. You know,
yeah.
I thought it was kind of quite real. So
Oh, and the
they
Sharon thing came out. They mentioned
yeah, I'd
that because
forgotten that.
Grant got with Sharon when he was last year.
I'd forgotten about all that. Yeah,
And then
so
Grant, well, I married to her first, and all that came back
yeah,
up. Why? Yeah, you're still
yeah,
there. Oh, Peg,
of
you'd be
course it is.
turning in a grave at you, Sharon, right
Yeah,
now.
it's
Do you
that
think we'll
sort of thing
see
is never going
Sharon?
to
I
go
know
away.
the Sharon thing where,
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'd
great,
like
she did
to,
come back.
we'd
I
like to,
fancy her. Yeah,
but I don't know. It
we'll
just
see.
depends what Letitia Dean's doing,
But
doesn't it?
then saying that it'd be nice. Also, it wouldn't hurt because if we're theorising correctly that Grant and Linda could be a thing, if Sharon was here, that potentially wouldn't happen anyway. So maybe
Mm,
it gives a bit of room for that to happen and be a thing. And
maybe.
Phil's close to Linda as well, so even though he wouldn't be jealous, because I feel like Phil and Linda are purely platonic, I
Mm.
could still see that he'd be like, oh, for God's sake,
And
Grant,
always
like.
should be, by the way. Like I have
Yeah, 100%.
no interest in watching Phil
100%.
and Linda be
Oh, that's where
romantic.
you draw the line,
Oh
is it?
God,
Phil
yeah,
and Linda.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Okay, got you.
hundred
Yeah, no,
percent,
but I agree.
hundred
Yeah.
percent.
Mm.
So yeah, the Phil eventually agrees to kind of go. He's found a stone, and he goes to the care home. Unfortunately, his car has been clamped,
Sure.
and so Grant starts to drive into the care home,
Mm-hmm.
and then his electric car runs out of battery. I would not say that this was a great week for advertising electric cars on EastEnders.
No, it wasn't. Or cars generally, to be
Just
quite
cars
honest.
generally just runs out
Yeah.
of battery in the middle of the street.
And then last week before you crash, yeah.
Yeah,
Get on
just don't.
bus
Yeah,
next time,
just yeah,
everyone.
exactly. Walk. That's what you should do. Just walk.
Well,
And so Phil ends up going to the hospital or going to the care home on the back of a delivery motorbike,
sure.
which
Okay,
I'm
fine.
quite sad we didn't see because I
I'm
quite like to have
quite,
seen that.
well, do you know what? Technology is kind of ruining soaps in a way because all I was thinking is, well,
Uber.
you got Uber, but
Yeah,
then I
it's
did
all like yeah,
think I could imagine both of them not understanding how to use an Uber app. To be
that's true.
fair, I did
That's true.
think that both of them, especially seeing as though they both normally drive and everything, it might
Yeah,
be a bit alien to them how to book an Ubers. But so there
yeah.
you go. But
Hey
yeah,
ho, yeah.
fine.
It is
He
that was
got
what it
there.
was.
That
Exactly.
was
He
what
got
it was
there and he
about.
got
Yeah,
there in time, and
yeah.
he kind of got there just as Nigel is in his sort of final hour or so.
Mm.
Then we are transported back to the beach with
Yeah,
Nigel and a little boy
yeah.
Nigel, and this stuff
Oh,
was
young
gorgeous, wasn't it?
Nigel.
Young Nigel,
Young Nigel was so good as well.
he was good. He was
I
good. He
liked young
looked
Nigel.
perfect. Yeah, he
Yeah,
looked
he really did.
perfect, and
He had a softness to him like
yeah,
Paul Bradley brings to
yeah,
Nigel,
yeah,
which
yeah,
was really nice. So
yeah.
yeah, fair play to young
They've
Nigel.
just it's just they've captured sort of like what you would totally imagine Nigel's looked like as a kid, didn't they?
Yeah,
Like it was
you knew straight away who it was supposed to be.
yeah.
Perfect. Yeah,
And you kind of got the sense as well that Nigel was sort of just waiting for Phil to turn up
yeah,
at that point, wasn't he? Like Karen,
yeah.
Julie,
Julie.
Julie, kept kind of saying to Nigel, "It's okay, you can go now. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready
Yeah,
to let you go,"
Yolandi
and all
kept
this.
saying he's
Yeah,
holding on for something, but I
yeah.
think it's you, Julie.
Can't
And then
think what it
Julie
would
like,
be.
yeah.
And there's Phil sort of like scootering his way across London towards the care home. I enjoyed Yolandi's little song. Thought that was quite nice.
I've enjoyed the community spirit around Nigel and not that everyone came to say goodbye because like obviously the Slaters have been going to visit as well,
Mm.
but that wouldn't have felt right if they'd have gone to say
Yeah,
goodbye. It
they
was
just
the right people
turn up with
who
four
went.
packs of beer. Like,
Yeah, here's
hey,
some vodka. Nigel will be fine with
I
it.
should have
Don't
loved
worry.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so, but what kind of happens there is it's all about whether Phil is going to be okay. That's sort of what Nigel needs to know
mm,
before he can go. That's sort of the theme they were going with.
yes,
And
yeah,
so, in Nigel's head, I think
yes,
him and
yeah, yeah,
Phil have this conversation on the beach about, are you
yeah,
going to be okay? Can I
hmm
go? Is everything fine here? And a
yeah.
lovely little conversation about skimming stones and one last stone. Or it
And
was all
why it was,
and
yeah,
why it was. It
the
was all
stern importance of it.
Richard Davidson the writer of
Yeah.
those episodes, right? He will come in every now and again and will just write an absolutely phenomenal script, won't he? He's an
Yeah.
incredible writer, and
Yeah.
he's done quite a lot of that sort of thing over the past kind of couple of years. He did
Hmm.
the episode when Nigel is in the Vic with Pat and
Yeah.
Barry and all of
Yeah.
that kind of thing. He wrote What If Linda Died? All those sorts of.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
tend to give him all this sorts of slightly
Surreal.
surreal stylistic
Yeah.
scripts, and he does
Yeah.
them really, really, really well.
Yeah, he does actually, because it was really clever, I thought, how they kept interlinking like Nigel's thoughts of the conversation on the beach with what with what Phil was actually saying at his bedside,
Yeah,
and like how it flowed. It was quite clever because really a death scene like that where you in his head could feel really out of place, but it really worked really nicely, didn't it?
yeah,
And we felt like we got the Phil and Nigel closure even though
yeah,
Phil wasn't really there as well, so it really
yeah,
worked like really nicely.
yeah, really, really nicely. And so once that conversation has been had, Julia's theme
Oh
begins on
god,
the
getting a lump
piano.
in my throat
I
when you
know, I
said it
know.
then.
Julia's theme begins on the piano. I think this is
Yeah.
Ben Wade's first Julia's theme, I think, wasn't it? I think so. I think it's the first one we've
Yeah,
had
and
since he took
I don't
over.
remember. Yeah, I don't remember any
Someone will
recently
tell us
or.
immediately if we're wrong, but I
Yeah.
think it was his
Well,
first
actually,
Julius.
this is
Actually,
the
he's had
fourth
7.
one. Yeah.
That's them every other week, actually. And Nigel passes away, and Julie breaks into tears, and Phil breaks into tears, and it was the nation broke into tears, and it was. Did
Yeah.
you cry? Did you cry? Did you cry? Did you cry?
Do you know what? I actually didn't.
You hard
I
faced
did,
bitch.
but
I
I
didn't.
cried at I cried at the end of Thursday's more. I was bawling.
Yes. Were you with the
Interesting, isn't
dancing and
it?
everything?
Yeah, that was the bit where I cried and
Yeah.
like when I was looking at Phil. There's something about Phil.
In it.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it's Phil who gets me. I
I know what you
don't know
mean.
why I didn't cry at that. I think it's just because I knew it was going to happen. Whereas
Mm,
on Thursday, I didn't realise all that had happened with Phil, and we've gone through like a journey of Phil's grief on Thursday's episode. So that made me cry more than losing Nigel because I kind of prepped for it and knew it would come in. And
yeah.
it was just nicely done. So it didn't
Mm,
feel that upsetting actually when he went. But then
no.
seeing the aftermath, I think, were a bit more upsetting.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
did you cry?
I didn't cry, but I was sort
Oh,
of
look at
like
us.
hard,
We
hard.
shouldn't. Well, I said maybe we shouldn't be doing a podcast if we're not going to cry at Nigel dying.
Should be
What's going
sobbing,
on?
shouldn't we? I mean, it was emotional. It was
Yeah, it
emotional, and I was
was.
sort of
Yeah.
like I was on the brink of it. I would say when
Yeah.
just when
Same.
I mean
Yeah.
Julia's thing. Whenever it starts when someone's dying,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
sort of
God.
like
Yeah.
my lip starts wobbling. You know,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
one of those little emotive
Yeah.
pieces of music. So Thursday's episode.
Mm.
Obviously this is the aftermath and
Yeah.
sort of Phil and Julie sort of a bit dazed and sort of trying to
Mm.
work out what the next step is because I feel like
Yeah.
that's almost the hardest bit. It's sort of like you've been preparing for this
Mm.
day for so long and been
Mm.
expecting this day to come and dreading this day for so long,
Mm.
and now it's arrived. It's sort of like, what do we do now then? Like what happens now? We're sort of
Mm.
defunct of responsibility now almost, aren't we?
Well, she said that she rang Kirkers, didn't she? And then we're like, well, I'm going to go and let him come and get him.
Yeah,
And Phil like, you're not going to stay with him. And I found it interesting that she said, well, that's not Nigel, that's just his body.
I got that completely. Yeah, I thought that
Yeah,
made sense. Yeah, it was an interesting
which
way of looking at
does.
it.
Well, I think it's interesting because I feel like if I were in that position, I'd view it as differently, and I'd be like, oh, I
Mm,
need to be with him all the way until the very last step.
yeah,
But also, I think it's quite good that she could do that because I feel like that'd be quite difficult to see that anyway. I
yeah.
think she's seen
I
enough, if
think
you know
I
what I
would.
mean.
I think I would go more with
Yeah.
the Julie route if I was if I was in those shoes. There, it's interesting,
But
isn't
also,
it?
you don't know because, yeah,
No.
it does make sense to do that when you're in that situation. So,
Mm.
actually, because you're probably like, "Do you know what? I think I've had enough of like
I need a break.
that side of things.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think I
exactly.
need to
Yeah.
go home and have a bath for a minute and, yeah.
Yeah. So they go back to the square. The
Yeah.
Slaters sort of arranged this little sort of community knees up in the Vic, which was
Yes.
lovely, you know. And
Very nice.
Julie gives like a lovely little speech thanking
Mm.
everybody and saying, "I understand why Nigel needed to come back
Yeah.
here."
Yeah.
They play the film because
Hmm.
Lexi has another week off school.
Well, she can now. Come on, it's probably quite
Suppose.
just
Oh
now.
please! Someone's goldfish across the square could die. She'd demand a week
I'm
off school for
surprised.
grieving.
Everyone in comments were very team you last week and like, yeah, she
That
is
never
being a brat,
happens.
Rob. All
Never
right.
happens, does it? I
Oh
know. Hey,
gosh,
we'll
right. Poor
see.
Lexi. You're
Um,
savages.
it's because you're a mother now. You get it, don't you? That's the
I
problem.
think it is, to be fair.
10
I
years ago,
probably would
you'd have been
have.
like, get
Yeah,
to
I
school and
would
tell her to
have.
stop being a brat.
Yeah, I would have.
Changed.
Where's
You've
that kid?
changed. But yeah, they sort of watch the
Yeah.
film and it's all really nice. And then there's a final little extra bit of the film. I kind of want to see the film now. I want them to
Yeah, in
release
its
the film.
entirety. Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
would be nice, but I
it
don't
would be
think they
nice.
will. Fine.
Um, and there's this kind of like final little sort of almost like a bloopers reel at the end of the film that sort
Yes.
of is enough for Phil to sort of just walk out and want to go home because it's sort of Phil and Nigel just having a bit of banter together. He's dressed as Santa, and it was
Is that a bit
really sweet.
funny?
It was really,
It
really
was
sad and
nice,
sweet and
yeah.
emotional, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So Phil kind of goes back, and everyone's sort of like walking on eggshells around Phil because it's sort of like, are you going to try and top yourself again now? Basically,
Yeah,
aren't they? They're,
don't want to
they're
leave
scared
you
of
on your
that.
own, but like
Yeah,
don't want to like invade your privacy because like sometimes
it's yeah. What do you do? I mean, I get why everybody was doing that, and
yeah.
I also but I feel like Phil is ultra sensitive to stuff like that as well.
Mm.
So it's sort of like, leave me
Do you know
alone. I don't need
what?
you all pecking at my head.
Well,
I'm all
this is
right.
it. I must admit, right, it kind of makes sense what happened with Phil because I would think going into a pub full of people, some who, yeah, they knew him, but they weren't like as close to Nigel.
Yeah,
I don't feel like when it's that raw and that new that that would necessarily be the right thing for everyone. So, like, Julie was absolutely fine with it.
mm,
I think that was too overwhelming for Phil in that moment. And actually, what they should have maybe done for Phil, but then again, you can say, you know, Julie, it was right for Julie to have the film, was just have a select few people back at his house with him
yeah,
where he can just be in his home environment and like process it rather than a pub where everyone's staring at him while he's trying
yeah,
to process what's just
yeah,
happened.
yeah.
I think it's kind of fair enough because when Kat said it, I'm like, oh, do you think they might need to go home and recalibrate a little bit? But everyone's
Yeah,
different, aren't they? And you don't
everyone's
know until
different.
it happens how
And I
someone's going to
think,
react.
I think, yeah, I mean, and Julie and Phil are different people. And I think Julie needed to have that moment where she was sort of thanking everybody for their support and
Yes,
sort
yeah,
of almost giving them a message from Nigel. I think that was what Julie wanted to do at that
yes,
moment, wasn't it?
yeah.
But obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Phil is Phil. Goes across the square. Him and Grant have like a sort of like Grant sort of like, you're right. Are you okay? Are you all right? Do you need to do anything? Are you okay? Um, and they sort of kind of part ways, and then Phil gets a lighter, pulls an armchair
Yeah,
out into the square, and sets fire to it.
fair,
Quite close to a
fair.
van was the only thing I was concerned
It
about
was
there.
quite. I mean, arguably, why on earth would you do that? Why would you just set
Well,
fire? But I understand the
well, I was kind
symbolism and
of,
the
I was,
meaning of it all.
well, there was a moment where I was sort of like, what have I missed here? Why has he just set random fire to an armchair? But then I was sort of like, is that related to the music that they were playing? And it was all to do with sort of like the anarchic sort of downward.
No,
What was it about?
because he was saying if I burn the armchair, there's no danger of him sinking back into his depression because when he was depressed, he would just sat in that armchair
Oh,
the entire time.
I missed
So he
that
went,
completely.
yeah, so he went out and burnt it because he knew that Nigel wouldn't want him to just sink back into a depression.
Oh,
And he sat in the armchair for the
I
entire time.
literally thought
Yeah,
that
he
that
weren't
was
just being a chav and being like,
No, I
someone get
thought
petrol, I'm setting fire to somewhere. YOLO.
no, I thought that was all to do with like the music that they played at the end when they were all sort of like jamming and
Nah,
all that kind of thing, and it was related to
no,
like sort of
no.
setting
You
fire to
think
things. And
Nigel would have been doing out like that?
well, I thought like down with the
He just
system and all
like,
this kind of thing that Nigel might have done when he was younger.
down with the system and
That's what
that.
I thought that was down with the government.
Absolutely not. No, it was to
Oh, that
show
makes
that
more
he's not going
sense.
to sink back into a depression in his
Oh,
armchair. And so
he's
to
got nowhere
prove
to
that,
sit
I'm going to
now
set
though.
it on fire. Well, he could have put it outside house and put a little note on free to a good home,
Yeah,
arguably. That's
no,
probably what I
it's
would
not
have
the
done.
Mitchell one. I set fire to it.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, fair
But
enough. That does
yeah,
make more
yes,
sense.
that's
That
what
does
that
make
was
more
about.
sense. That's good. I
So
like that then.
now the armchair's gone. He can't just sit and mope in his armchair.
Nice. You just sit on the
That's
floor
what
and
it
mope
was.
instead.
You
Yeah,
can
and
sit
you
on the
somewhere.
settee. He's probably a
You
bit
can sit.
comfier. I
Yeah,
don't know. Yeah,
yeah.
but you
So
know,
yeah, very good. Very, very good.
yeah.
So yeah, overall, I mean, just amazing, incredible scripts.
Yeah,
Phil
but
and
that was that end scene is what made me cry when I
with
saw
them all
like
dancing around
Phil
and
had burnt the chair, so it was
yeah,
like it was the fact that Phil was able to like almost be happy about Nigel's life, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, that's it.
yeah,
And then he like looked at the photo and making them all dance, like as if Phil is in there telling everyone to dance and putting the
yeah.
music on and being happy.
I know.
It were very it was to tell us, I think, as an audience as well, Phil is not going to go into a depression, right, with what's happened, and he's
Yeah,
okay. He's had his closure, and actually, he's looking at it in a very positive way, and he's going to honour Nigel and what Nigel would want.
yeah.
However, did you notice that Julie wasn't there?
Well,
Was
she was
she
still in the
there?
pub. She was still in the pub, I think.
Do you think Julie's going to be all right? Because I feel like we focused a lot on Phil not being okay. That it's making me wonder if we're going to go down a Julie's really not going to be
Well,
okay
I
route.
mean, I think it's this. I mean, this all depends on what you think is going to happen with Julie and Phil. Now,
Oh, it's
well, no,
irrelevant. But yeah, no, I know it's
it's not
irrelevant. Go on.
irrelevant. I
I know
think
it's
that it's not relevant at all. You've got to sort. I'm not. Listen, I know I've sort of said like, oh well, obviously they need to get together, but literally all I care about, I don't care how it happens. I just need Julie to stay. So
Yeah, right,
if
okay,
that's
yeah.
what needs to happen in order for Julie to stay, then that's what I
Well, it's
want to
barely
happen.
cold, Rob. Can we
I'm not
please
saying that they're going to be.
just wait?
I'm not saying they're going to be shagging by the end of next week. I'm just saying
Good.
that
I should hope
it's
not.
if that's
Yeah,
what
I know what you're saying.
if that's what needs to happen in order to keep Julie on the square and to keep Karen Henthorne, who has been utterly phenomenal throughout this entire storyline.
Amazing.
Why wouldn't we want to keep her on the show?
But
You know?
But she could easily stay now by saying that being in Walford keeps her closer to Nigel. Like she had that little speech in the pub about, I understand why he came here now because,
Mm.
it's the community spirit and all these people and it's part of him and it were in his bones.
Yeah.
Then it makes sense for her to stay just for that. She don't need to get with Phil. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm not saying I need them to be together. I mean, in all honesty, though, I would say I
Yeah,
could
go on.
understand them getting together. I
So can
honestly
I.
can.
So
And
can
I
I as
don't
well, to be
necessarily think
honest.
it's a bad thing. I feel like they could. I don't think that they'd be one for years and years and years and years together, but I feel like they would go to each other for some form of comfort or something.
I
I'm not
bet.
saying I want Julie Mitchell necessarily, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I wouldn't kick off if they got together. I really wouldn't. I mean, it
There
doesn't.
is no
But
point knocking on
I
wood,
don't get
but
as angry about it as you do. I'm fine with it either way,
I
as
say,
long as
but
Julie
Rob,
stays.
I say this all the time, and then it happens, and I'm like, oh, actually, that works.
Yeah,
I actually
exactly.
don't
So
mind it.
you never
So,
learn, do you?
no, I don't know. Too busy getting outraged to
Yeah,
actually
too
say,
busy being
actually.
angry about to
Yeah, I
see the
know.
potential, Rihanna. That's what it
Angry.
is.
Yeah,
Yes, angry.
definitely.
Rhea is always angry. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I say, I don't care if they get together, if they stay friends, if they stay housemates, as long as Julie stays on the square.
Yeah, I
Because I mean,
agree.
to be
I
fair,
definitely need
she
her to
sold
stay.
the house in Edinburgh and she's got a job at the
Yeah.
school. So actually, there's no reason for her to go anywhere.
No, exactly. And she can stay. She can get Lexi to school as well. Come on.
Someone needs to.
Exactly. But no, I do wonder if though we are going to see her struggling. I am a bit intrigued to see the
Mm.
focus was so heavily on
On
Phil and
Phil,
making
yeah.
sure he was okay. And Phil kept saying, but I think that was just Phil's way of being like, I don't deserve your sympathy. I'm not, I've not lost a husband kind of thing. But everyone else were just like so
Yeah.
concerned about him going into a depression. And I know that people were still checking on Julie and things, but it does make me wonder if that's where it could be going. And
Possibly,
then
yeah.
that might give Phil his purpose back that he can help Julie through the grief potentially.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, in terms of the future of this storyline, let the sirens play.
Nino, spoilers, Nino.
Because we have had
Yeah.
a little bit of news regarding the funeral, and we might as well talk about that here.
Yes.
So, fast forward a little bit if you don't want to know spoilers about what's going to happen at the funeral, because we have had not one but two returns announced for the funeral. We have got the return of not only Claire, hurrah, as Gemma Bissix comes back for the funeral, but also a return from someone who hasn't been seen since 1998 is John Lee, who plays Julie's son, Josh, because there ain't no funeral like an S Club funeral.
I can't wait. I used to love S Club 7 back in the day. I'm here for this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really nice promo picture of sort of the three of them, Julie, Claire, and Josh, released, so all ready for the funeral. I'm presuming it's going to be just like a one episode thing,
Yeah.
but quite right. Good, 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 good. They've
Yeah.
done they're flawless from start to finish the story. I'm really happy
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. We were worried at one point that Claire wasn't going to come back at all. So it's
Mm,
really nice that we had like a week of her being back and then she's back for the funeral. Yeah,
mm.
perfect. Chef's kiss.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, I think it's, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Gemma Bissix is brilliant in Hollyoaks as Claire
Yeah.
Devine or Divine, or how we pronounce her name. Like, she's brilliant as that role. But I would love, what I really would love now is for Julie to remain on the square and then Claire to come back full time. And then someone who made this brilliant suggestion on Facebook, and I really want it to happen, uh, was if they then have a sort of Pat and Janine type relationship from that moment onwards.
Oh, I'd be here for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd
yeah,
yeah,
that'd
that'd
be
really
brilliant,
work with
wouldn't
them
it?
as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That would
Ooh,
be
whoever said that?
because actually the
Bravo.
dynamic is
Great
quite
idea.
similar, actually, isn't it?
Very.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would really work. So can Gemma leave Hollyoaks, please, and then come back to Albert
Please, just
Square?
for
That
us. Yeah,
just
yeah,
for
yeah.
us,
That'd be
just for us.
nice.
We'd love you
Yeah.
forever for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's happening. So that's
Mm.
exciting. So that's
Yes.
to look forward to, I guess. Although probably that'll be another
When
sort of
is the funeral next week?
I don't know
Week
yet.
after?
I
Okay.
don't know.
We
Probably
don't
probably a
know.
couple of weeks. I think maybe they
Yeah.
might have to give the storyline a couple of weeks break and
Yeah.
then sort of do the
Okay.
funeral. So
Hmm.
so that's happening. So gold stars this week, Ree.
I'm very torn on who to give it to,
I
actually.
am ripped asunder of who to give it to.
But do you know who I am going to give it to?
Go on.
Got to be Nigel one last time.
Fine.
Paul Bradley's been amazing. Come on.
Do you know what I'm
One
going
last
to
one.
say we're going to do this week? For the
Go
first time
on.
ever, how about we give 3 gold stars out this week?
Three, is it? Go on then. We're getting it to all three of them.
I think so.
Yeah.
One for Julie, one for Phil, and one for Nigel. How about that?
Yes. Very just. Yes. Definitely. Three gold stars.
Won't happen every week. Won't happen very
No,
often.
well,
A
maybe
rare
not.
occasion.
Yeah.
Maybe ever again. But
Yeah.
it's I think appropriate this week because all
I
three of
agree.
them throughout this
Yes.
entire storyline have just been incredible. It's been a
Yeah.
beautifully handled story.
Hmm.
Again, it's so rare for a story to not only have a crossover period and remain as good as it was when it
Hmm.
started, but also for the whole thing just to not put a toe wrong in anywhere in
Yeah.
the center. It was just perfectly done. So well done, EastEnders. Pat yourself on the back. Unfortunately, there's not an award ceremony for you to receive plaudits for all of this
Yeah, because
because
this storyline would have
would have
wiped
right.
everyone else.
Of course
Sorry.
it would.
Sorry.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
been brilliant. So there we go. But so in absence of an award ceremony, you can have 3 gold stars,
Yeah, there you
which,
go.
if anything, is as much of an honor,
What
right?
more of an award do you need than three
Stick
gold
that in your
stars?
awards
Come
cabinet and
on.
smoke it. So there we go then. So final section of the podcast, as usual, is some comments from you.
So we've got a comment here from Instagram from Paulie Graham who says, I thought Wednesdays was emotional, but the final scene of Thursdays, the final shot and that soundtrack, I was in tears and I never cry at stuff.
Or Paul is like us, hard, hard on the
Hard.
brittle,
But
hard on the
that's what
inside.
got me. That's what got
Yeah,
me. The end of Thursday's episode, the music and Phil and everyone being there together. And it would have been what Nigel wanted.
it would have
So
been that
yeah,
what Nigel wanted. It was lovely.
that's
And
what
what
got me more than Wednesdays.
I'd seen Ross Kemp dance around like that. We're not seeing that before. That was a new thing.
He'd only do that if it were for a special occasion, which it clearly was. So there we go.
Exactly, exactly. Miss Magpie has said, incredible week from a writing and acting point of view. Karen, Paul, and Steve were fantastic, as they have been for the entirety of this storyline, and Nigel's death was handled with such sensitivity and respect for the characters. This is why we keep coming back. EastEnders at this level cannot be matched.
We've got another comment here from Sarah Foster who says, Wednesday's episode completely broke me. Such beautiful writing and unbelievable performances. I really hope that Nigel's legacy is a permanent change in Phil. His line about Nigel showing him how to be a different man was perfection. I'm going to miss Nigel so much, but I'm looking forward to seeing the continuation of the changes made to others. P.S. Surely Rob cried.
A little bit, just a little bit.
You didn't,
Got
did you?
emotional at the end. Got
God,
emotional at the end.
you can't cry when Nigel dies, Rob, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, like I said, Julia's theme
Yeah.
started me off, and the whole sort of thing with the stone. Do you know what? I think the biggest thing that got me, I think, was when they did that last. Well, Nigel threw that last stone, or the young Nigel threw that last stone
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
water, because that was beautifully filmed,
Yeah,
and that,
true.
yeah,
Oh,
that.
actually, yeah. Like, did somebody actually skim a stone that
I
well
think. Can we
to
talk
do the
about like?
shots?
I didn't
Yeah,
even know
who
that
did
kind of
that?
skimming was possible. It was
With AI?
How long
Like,
did that? How long did that take?
can you imagine? I wonder if they got like a
I've never been able to
champion
do that.
Guinness World Records
Just
skimming
called him in.
stone to come in or something. Yeah,
Yeah, that was really quite.
maybe
That was really quite impressive.
that was impressive.
Finny Mathers has said, I reckon Julie could well be a long-term EastEnders classic alpha female. Oh, and anybody who's disparaging about soap should be watching this week's episode. It's been unmissably excellent telly. Steve McFadden is criminally underrated outside the soap bubble, one of this country's finest actors. Yeah.
Well,
I
we
mean that
agreeing
I
again.
mean
Awards.
anybody who is snobby about soap is an idiot, I would say, quite frankly, and this week has proved that. Proven that? Proved that.
Proved that. A comment here from Tracy Carefoot Lynch who says, I have not cried so much at the telly in years. Beautifully written. Oh, Nigel, we'll miss you.
I am going to really, really miss
Yeah,
Nigel.
we've not really spoke enough about how much I'm actually going to miss Nigel. It's been so nice having him back, and
It's
like
been
his character's so nice to have on the square as
Yeah, I
well.
mean, it's been such a triumphant return for the character as well. I think
Yes.
sometimes you bring someone back from, especially that long ago, and
Mm,
it's sort of like, why? What random
yeah.
characters to bring back? But
Yeah.
actually, the way it's all been worked into Phil's story
Mm,
and everything about the history of the show and just
yeah.
everything, it's been perfect. I have
Yeah.
not got a single thing that I could possibly say was, oh, that bit was a bit off or anything like that. It was
No.
all handled fantastically.
Agreed.
And finally, Laura Kay has said, "Attention, Ben Wadey, your musical choices are proper brilliant. What a lovely send off for Nigel. When I started watching the show more years ago than I care to remember, Nigel was working in the video rental shop. He was one of the first characters that I fell in love with, so to speak. It's a funny feeling having seen a character come full circle like this, but that's life and that's EastEnders. Bravo to everyone. These past several weeks have been some of the best." What I would say as well regarding Nigel working in the video shop, remember that conversation that Grant was having about the April Fool's joke with a pound coin? I remember that episode.
Oh
That
wow.
was an actual episode because I don't know what
Oh
some
yeah, with the
sometimes
slab and yeah,
yeah
yeah, yeah.
I had a
That
random
rang the image of that rang a bell in my
yes
head.
yeah like Grant's
Yes,
holding up
yes,
that paving
yes,
slab like
yes,
sometimes random little images from millions of years ago stick in your head and
yes.
that one has always stuck in my head, so I was quite pleased to have
Ah,
that brought up because
yeah.
I do remember that episode. I think it was around 97 or 98 or something like that, and I
Wow.
do remember that, yeah, because I remember Nigel just in the video store watching people try and pick up this pound coin that he'd stuck to the pavement and just sort of giggling to himself, and then Grant presented him with the paving slab when he was asking for change at the Vic. Yeah,
Do you
really
know
nice
that just
throwback
kind of
that.
sums up Nigel? That it's like the
Mm,
little things in life, isn't it? That's
yeah,
such a simple little prank to pull, but like gets
yeah,
so
and he
many
delighted him.
laughs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah, in conclusion, what a fantastic week of EastEnders it's been. It's times like this that it's a pleasure to do a podcast about it, isn't it, Rihanna?
It is. It truly is.
This is indeed. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, you can do the following.
You can find us on Facebook at Albert Square After Dark, on Twitter and Instagram at E20 After Dark. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can listen to us on Apple and wherever you find your podcasts. Drop us an email at e20afterdarkpodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by going on buymeacoffee.com/E20 After Dark.
Yes, you can indeed. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. We will be back same time next week. What we're going to be dealing with next week, who knows?
Oh, I'm
I
not
mean,
sure.
I'm not sure. I will say, I do think, like I think I said last week, that things have really picked up over the past few weeks, and
I
I hope,
agree.
yeah, it's been a really strong few weeks, and hopefully we're going to continue the momentum into the coming weeks. But we will be there to discuss it, and we hope you will be too. So until then, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.